Welcome to the Bella Grind Podcast, where we like to say here that it's go time. That means we go after our dreams, we go after our goals, and most importantly, we go after the bag. That's the money. I am so excited to have my guest here. I have Adrienne Grainger-Smith here with me today, and we have such a unique story, so I can't wait for you all to hear it. She has been a leader in the education field for 22 years, right?
Yes.
For 22 years. Just a phenomenal person, so I can't wait for you all to meet her. Adrienne, thank you for joining me today.
Thank
on
you
the
for
couch.
having me.
I can't wait for my bells and bowls. That's what I call my audience. I can't wait for them to hear from you today. So let's start off with you sharing with them our connection.
All right. Well, hello, Bells and Bows. I actually knew Jan or noticed Jan before she knew who I was. She worked at South Fulton Elementary School at the time, and this was several years ago, and they did a presentation on understanding poverty, which is very important because in the education system, everything is kind of geared towards like middle class expectations and understandings. And in the communities that we worked in, that doesn't always apply to all students. And so it was an eye-opening experience for the staff. I actually redelivered it to my teachers, and it helped us better connect with students. So I always appreciated and respected her, just watching her delivery, her passion, her connection with the students, and with the whole purpose for why we're here, which is to educate every single child, to give everybody experiences and opportunities, because we can all be successful. So I knew then at that moment I have got to know this person. So I love surrounding myself with people who are smart, progressive, and on the go. And she was one of those people, and I did have an opportunity to meet her, and we've been kind of thick as thieves ever since then.
Yes, we have the best conversations, very radical conversations, and that's what I can appreciate about my relationship with Adrienne, because we can talk very openly about what we're passionate about, which is Black and brown children. So certainly a connection. So you just had a dream recently, and you called me and you shared it with me, and it completely blew my mind, because what's interesting is that day I was actually here, and I had just filmed a previous podcast, and I was dealing with fear, which I often talk with my team about, is having a lot of fear about what I'm doing right now, and even struggling with that day inadequacy. And you called me 3 times that day. I missed 2 of them, and then you finally got through to me, and you shared a dream that you had. So I need you to, because when she called me to share the dream, it was right on time, and it was the confirmation that I had just asked God for. I was like, please show me a sign. And then you called me. So you've got to share the dream.
So first of all, I don't call anybody 3 times. So, but it was, I had a dream about her. I knew that she'd started the podcast. I knew that she was in a place where she was stepping out to do something that was important to her and that she loved. And, you know, for any of us, if you're stepping out into something new, there's a lot of unknowns. So I had this dream, and she was doing this, and she was successful in it, and everything just felt right. Like I could see how her eyes sparkle when she talks about this, when she does this. But the whole dream was about her like pushing forward, like all the way, all gas, no brakes. Let's do it with what it is that she wants to do, and to trust that she will be successful in that. So I had to reach her just to tell her what I was thinking, so that she would know, like, it's going to be fine, whatever it is that you're doing, because she's so amazing. And I didn't even know that you were scared of anything until you just said it, because the way she presents is a bad girl. I was like, oh, get it. So that's what I wanted to call and tell her. And I really believe in giving people their praises. Anything that you sense or feel is something that might uplift their purpose, like, let them know, don't hold it back for anything.
Yeah, it was the freedom for me when you said that, because that's what I am seeking. And then when you said that, that's what resonated the most. I was like, yes, it's the freedom for me.
And then helping other people who are still growing into themselves, to be able to uplift other people, especially in a society that doesn't always do that. Like we're coming into it a little bit more. Like, this would be right up her alley, and I want you to do that. I want to celebrate you in even more ways.
Yay! Thank you, Adrienne.
You're welcome.
So now I want to sort of pull back the layers on your story, because your story is an amazing one as well. But I want you to own it. And so I'm only going to frame it with You are really on a warrior's journey right now. That's what I call it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I see you, that's what I see. You are a warrior to me, right? And it's your spirit for me. Like it is, your spirit is everything. And so, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted you on the couch, because I admire it so much about you. And it's one of the things that, since we're talking about our connection, when I first met you, it was one of the things that sort of jumped out at me. Is she has such a warm spirit. It's just and so I respected that about you. And we are on the Shield of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Yes.
And so that too was another connection, right? But it's the spirit for me. But I want you to share what you want to share about your warrior's journey.
Okay. So I've been a fighter since I was little, but I didn't know it because it was just like, whatever you do, whatever you want, you go for it, you get it.
Yeah.
If you fall sometimes you learn more from your, I don't want to say failures, I don't believe in that. You learn more from setbacks or obstacles or what those experiences are. So I actually had my first bout with cancer in 2010. I had cervical cancer, and what was crazy is like we were doing a Relay for Life walks. I had been doing it for like a decade. And so when I was diagnosed with that, it was like a simple procedure to get it taken care of. Like, I don't know how graphic we can be on here, but so it was like, have a partial hysterectomy and it's done. Okay, great. They wanted to recognize me at Relay for Life. I'm like, no, because there's other people who've gone through so much more. Like, let me just keep walking, grinding, and supporting them. So last year, 2020, noticed something changing with my body. But COVID just hit. So it was like I couldn't even get into the doctor, but I knew something was wrong. So I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and it was scary. Like when they told me, I probably cried for 2 seconds because I automatically go to like, okay, deal with it. And then how are we going to fight this? Like, what are we doing? What's the game plan? Because I have 2 children and I don't plan on going anywhere. Like, I'm enjoying life. Like, whatever this is, like, we have to figure out what it is we're going to do. I never stopped working because I love working. I love being able to impact students. I love the staff that I work with. And so my staff, my family, my friends, they've been with me through the entire journey. So I went through chemo. I had a double mastectomy. Which was probably hard because that was like the first time that I couldn't like do small things. Like I couldn't wash myself. Sorry, hey y'all. I was clean though. I had help. And I couldn't move around as much, and I had to rely on people to help me. And I'm used to being the one who's helping everybody. So it was a very humbling experience. And even just, I didn't even know how, I learned then, I didn't know how to accept or ask people for help. Because people were offering, like, what do you need? And I was like, I don't even know. Like, I think I'm good. We're good. And then so people kind of jumped in to do that. But it was very important for me because there were so many people worrying. Like, I'm fine. Like, we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. So I was going to work. I would leave and go to chemo, come back, or leave and go to radiation and come back. And it made me feel good to be able to do that because as long as I was able to do, I wanted to do. So we thought that we got rid of it. And then this spring, 2021, I actually broke my rib walking. Like I was exercising. I went to pull up my pants. You know, you have to shake your assets in to make sure they're right. And I felt this snap. I'm like, oh my God, what is it? We thought it was a pulled muscle. Honey, my daughter had pushed the bone back in. Like, we didn't know. We thought it was a muscle. I'm like, something's not right. And then that's how we found out that the breast cancer had come back even more aggressively. So I'm now a stage 4 breast cancer patient. It's metastasized, into my spine and my hip. So this was, I'm 5 months into chemo. So this has been a longer journey, and it makes me really tired, and it's very painful. But I kind of put that to the side because I enjoy life too much. Like I'm still going to go to my son's football games. I'm still going to participate at school, at work, like whatever it is that we want to do, because those pieces of life help you feel more alive. And it is, I can't imagine people who are going through this alone, or if you don't have like a fighter spirit, because it can wear you down. But I'm very thankful that I have my support system, and that I am somebody who wants to keep going and doing and experiencing as much as possible. Because the reality of it is tomorrow's not promised for any of us. And unfortunately, I'm in a situation where, like, a little less so for me. So I'm really going to make the most of every day and every opportunity that I can.
And you do. And do you find that when you get up every day, is it hard to get in that space where it's, I'm going to move in joy and happiness, or it's just that's a part of who you are?
That's how we were raised. Like my mom and dad, it was always like, you make the most of every day, every opportunity, every experience. You control what your space is like. So if where you are isn't where you want to be, either fix it or find another space. So it's kind of, that's how it is. I've never been somebody who's been sad or like moody or any of that. So it's not hard for me to wake up and be excited about, okay, this is what I have to do. Are there days when I'm like, can I please sleep another hour? Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But once I get up, once I'm moving, I'm good to go.
You're good to go.
Yes.
And you said two things that to me are very important, and it's something that most Black women, if not all of us, we kind of suffer from. That is, one, asking for help. I heard you say that. One, asking for help, and then two, paying attention to our bodies. But not only paying attention to your body, but then actually following up and doing something about it if you feel like something is wrong, or if you know that something is wrong. And I'm guilty of, in the past, knowing that something was wrong, but not taking care of it right away, because we're taking care of everybody else, right? So if you could give a message to women about that, right, what would you say?
So I would say, let the Superwoman mantra go, because unfortunately, like, we do all things, we're all things to so many people, our children, if you have a spouse, your partner, family, friends. You have got to take care of yourself. Pay attention to your body, know your body. Please make sure you're doing your breast exams every month. I did that. That's how I found it. And actually, like, over 90% of breast cancer patients self-diagnose. Like, you find it from finding something wrong and then letting your doctor know.
Right.
So make sure that you take care of yourself, because you can't take care of others if you're not at 100% or even 80%. So and if it's difficult for you to be in a place for other people to take care of you, make sure you take care of yourself.
Yeah, that part. What has this
can I say one more thing?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And then let people help you. Because the same joy that you get from helping other people, when you tell them you don't need help, you're robbing them of that experience. So when you create a village of people, the village is not just one directional. Like, everybody wants to be there to help each other. And so if there's an opportunity that people can help you and they're offering, please take it, accept it graciously, and everyone feels better about that, because then they're invested in your experience and supporting you. So that's been something that I've learned.
Yeah. Also. Y'all have an amazing hashtag. In this family,
no one fights alone.
In this family, no one fights alone. I remember seeing that and I was like, okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
And it's the truth.
Yeah. What has this done for you and your family, you and your kids? You're very close to your kids.
Yes.
And so how has this impacted your relationship with your kids?
So it's actually funny, because that now they feel like they're my parent. Like, well, Mom, have you been doing too much? You need to come get in the bed, take a nap. I'm like, who are you talking to? Look, as I'm like, okay, you're right. Let me take a 20-minute nap or do something. So it's cool to see, like, that they, like, I hope it hasn't made them have to grow up a little extra too quickly. So it's amazing to see them kind of growing into these little adults, which I guess they are anyway. They're 15 and 16. But they are kind of switching to the parent role, the caregiver role. My daughter was hardcore my caregiver. Like, when I had the surgery, she was right there through things that she didn't even want to be. So when I got to milestones, I can do this myself, she was like, thank God. But she was right there. My son is also, he's a caregiver in a different way. So it's kind of like, I tell him, like, this is what Mommy needs, or, you can help me by doing this. And then he's all over it. And so then he'll ask, like, certain things, but there's other stuff. If he's not sure, I just kind of see him, like, around the wings, like, okay, tag me in, coach. I just need to tell them what it is. But we communicate a lot more openly. Whenever I have my appointments and visits, I make sure I update them, like, specifically about what happens. And my son's question always is, did we get it yet? Or how close are we? How can they get all of it out? So my son internalizes things. My daughter has a different understanding because she wants to be a veterinarian. So she kind of, thinks she's doing her big medical thing. So she knows, like, how to look for stuff and do things. And my son doesn't say as much, but I watch what he does, and he worries. And so it's like, okay, so I try to make sure I talk to them about everything. And now that they're older, our conversations are just so much richer. Like, what's happening here? How does that make you feel? What can we do differently? And then just making sure I'm enjoying every experience with them. Because 2 teenagers, if y'all don't know, whew, it's a handful. It's a lot to keep up with. Like, and then with this situation, like with running a school, having 2 teenagers, I can't keep up with 16 teachers. I'm not even going to tell that lie. Like, I look in and see, like, okay, where are we with this? What's happening here? Let's check in. Do you have this done? And so I see them being more responsible. I see them taking more of the lead. So I'm sitting back a little bit, not too much, because I still have to, keep mommy eyes on them. But I'm able to do that. And then they're proud of what they're doing. It's like, okay, Mom, I finished this. I had this project. I'm doing that. And they're growing up. Yeah. Like, it was going to happen. And then I get to be here to see that. Because initially when they said stage 4, I know what that means. Like, I'm an optimistic realist. It doesn't always work out for people. But I was determined, whatever I can do to make sure that I'm here for them, because I love them more than anything. Yeah. And then for my mom, my dad, and my friends, like, I just love too much stuff. Like, I'm not ready to go. I'm not. So our relationship has definitely gotten better, and it's like matured. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this happening? And then I freak out a little bit, because I'm like, he's a junior. He's going to be gone in a year and a half. And her in 2.5. And
it flies by. Take it
blink,
from
blink.
me. Yes. What about as a leader, though? Has it changed who you are as a leader?
Yes. It has helped me delegate better. Okay. Because sometimes there'll be things, it's like, if I just do it, I can knock it out and it'll be exactly like I like it. But okay, I'm setting these things out. Because that also gives somebody else an opportunity to gain additional leadership experiences. So if there's something that's coming up, like opening it up to the team, which I've always been someone like to share with my admin team or my leadership team, get advice and insights. Like, okay, how do we think we should do this? Because this is our school. It's not like, I know I'm the figurehead here, but it's our school. But being able to delegate more is something that I have learned as a leader. And then I celebrate the staff even more now, based on my personal understanding that, tomorrow's not promised for any of us. Like, that's not just me. So if there's something that someone is doing, because in this battle that I'm going through, every small success is a big deal. So I'm trying to apply that at work too. So, and that's, it makes me feel good. The staff loves it. Like, even texting somebody, oh, sorry, such and such, or congratulations on your new house. Yeah. And it's helping relationships there too. Like, we already had the good ones. So that's something I've learned as a leader. That's what I'm doing differently.
As a leader. Have you been able to turn this pain into purpose?
Yes. Okay. I have. So, as an educator, the first time around, like when I had the cervical cancer in 2010, I didn't tell anybody except for the people that, okay, I'm not going to be at work for 2 weeks. This is what I need to happen. I'll be back then. Or the people who are directly impacted knew. I didn't tell everybody. After getting cussed out by my line sisters. And then some of my friends, they were like, what if something happened to you? Yeah. We wouldn't know. So then when I was diagnosed with breast cancer last year, I shared everything. Like, I was taking pictures of, this is my port, of the access needles. Like, I showed them everything. I was talking to them about the experience. This is what chemo feels like. This is how the cycle goes. This is what it felt like in radiation. This is double mastectomy. You're going to have bags hanging out. Like I talked about everything. And so people started inboxing me. Can you talk to my cousin? Or can you talk to someone? Or I'm going through this. I didn't even realize how many people were impacted by breast cancer until I had it. Like it's very different to see the statistics, like this many people have it, but there's a lot of people that I know, like a lot. One of my staff members was crying, and I was like, oh my God. Like, and you know, when someone is crying and it's from a very deep personal space, when I shared the news, I was like, I love you too. And I was like, I've only been here like a year and a half, so what is it? But then I found out her mother passed from breast cancer. So, and she was like, just please don't give up. Oh, no, ma'am, I never will. But even being able to just talk about the experience, I share anything. If anybody asks about any part of it, I tell them. Like for, no, maybe I won't say that. Okay, I will. So last year.
Like you said before, you don't have anything to learn.
I don't. So, because it's a learning experience for somebody. I decided that I was going to go to Lake Lanier with my friends and my kids because I couldn't do everything everybody else did. They were paddle boarding, and I love the water. I couldn't paddle board, so I'm going to read on the side, and I'm going to get in the lake. If you're on chemo, do not do that. Do not.
Don't get in the lake.
No, please don't. And so I've been walking every day to exercise, lost 39 pounds.
You go, girl.
So, but what I didn't know is the water from the lake has, I do know it has bacteria and stuff, but I did not know that because I've been walking, like your toenails lift. So I had like 3 forms of bacteria in one foot and 4 in the other. Y'all, I lost all 10 of my toenails. My daughter was like, oh my God, I still wear my sandals every day because hey, this is what we're going to do. But that was a learning experience. I showed them. My daughter could not believe I put it on social media. Yes, I did. Because people need to know. And it's real life. That's what happens. Like, you have to be careful. You have to do your research. And I was researching everything, but I selectively did not look up the swimming because I love swimming. I was like, I don't want it to tell me something that I don't want to hear. 10 toenails later.
Now you know.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. But that's part of the journey. We talked about the side effects. I showed people the machine that I had to go in for radiation. Like, this is what it looks like. Talked about when I was scared, when I wasn't. When I didn't feel well, and then little tips and tricks. But what I also did during the experience is I found other people who were able to be my support. So I had some dear friends from Spelman College whose mothers had gone through the experience and were like 18, 20-year survivors. So I would ask them questions, or other people would reach out like, I survived this, I did such and such. They gave me so many tips. Like, I've never been sick in chemo, y'all, thanks to these ladies, because they told me, make sure you eat, make sure you do this, this, and this. I listened to exactly what they said. Never been sick from chemo. Never thrown up one time. Never any of that stuff. So it's important to open yourself up so you can give, but also receive to help you through the process.
And that's what I respect about your social media post so much, because you really are teaching us, those of us that follow you. It's like you still have on an educator hat, because you're still teaching us about the process. And I love that you're very transparent too. You tell us exactly what you are feeling. But I also love to see the post too, where you're standing in the stands at your son's football game and you're dancing. You're dancing. Goes back to what I initially said. It's the spirit for me. Like, your spirit is just, it truly is everything. So let's shift a little bit to our relationship. And as I mentioned previously, we have some of the best conversations, and they're typically about our field of education. And she and I both share a passion for Black and brown children. So I would be remiss not to ask you this question. If there is one thing, or maybe let me rephrase it. What should we in our field start or stop when you think about the where we are with education now? So we've had to pivot due to COVID.
Right.
We have learning gaps right, for our children. And we know that our Black and brown children are really going to be impacted by those learning gaps, along with all of the other stuff that needed to be reformed a long time ago with education. But what's the one thing you would say we need to either start or stop in our field?
I think that we should start valuing diversity at every single level, whether this is socioeconomic diversity, whether this is actual diversity of ethnicity, if it's diversity of cognitive ability, of experiences, of communities. I think that we should start enveloping that and understanding that there are different things that different people need. I think we should stop trying to make everybody fit into one mold, because it doesn't work. It doesn't positively impact everybody. When you try to fit everybody in one space, you're missing 2/3 of the people. Because generally it's targeted towards a particular group. And then it works great for them. Even in our school, as you look at the students that we have to do different things within our school, even though it's the same community. People have different experiences. You have some students who are middle class, upper middle class. Some students can be affluent depending on where you are. You also have the range down to students who are middle class, students who are lower socioeconomic status, but that does not mean you can't learn. Just because you can't naturally access certain resources, just because you don't have certain background experiences that let you come to school with 40,000 words, that doesn't mean you can't learn.
That's right.
And so you have to do different things to help those children. You have to be willing to do that. And it's going to take work to build relationships with the students and the parents. Because I don't care how much money you have or where you are, that's number one, because you need to know your audience. You need to know your community. You need to know who you're working with. And then you need to know how to support them, and then how to bring others in to help support the work that you're doing. So I would say stop trying to apply one size fits all to everybody. I think we need to start assessing where people actually are, and then put your money where your mouth is. Like, if we talk about helping all students or supporting all students, that means our actions need to reflect that.
And that's a great point. And I would even add to that the equity piece, right? And I guess you typically are not supposed to follow up and answer your same question, but I am going to answer, because this is genuinely how we talk. But when I think about the equity approach that's needed, what I would like for us to stop doing is deciding for those that are closely impacted what the problem is for them. Right. And what I would like for us to start doing is actually elevating their voices, right? And listening to them and going to them to ask what the problem is, right? And then design around that
too. Is stop making decisions for people and groups that you don't have a connection with or to.
That part.
Because your thinking, even as well placed as it may be, if you don't have their voice,
right,
like you're saying, something's going to fall short.
Yep.
But then you also have to be open-minded enough to see when you started down a certain path, if it's not working for everybody, let's make some pivots. Let's make some adjustments.
Right.
Some people can keep going down 85, but some people need to turn off 20. Or some people, we might have to hit 285 a couple times before they're ready to go 85 north. But we have to be able to see that and understand that. And it's difficult when you're coming from a place where you're not working with the populations. At least get input from those populations or people who work with them, because that'll help. That'll help.
And that is something that you would say you practice as a leader. And you stay connected to your community. If it's one strategy that you could give all of us for staying connected in that way, because really I feel like it spans all industries. When I think about equity work, it's not just our field.
No.
So if you could drop a nugget, right, and share with the Bells and Bowls a strategy, what would it be?
So I want to share something I would love to be able to do.
Okay.
Like completely.
Okay.
So I would love to be able to be completely transparent with my community about things that are impacting my community. But when you work in the field of education, you have to be careful because you're considered an influence for the community, which you are. So I try to put everything out there, and especially, like, for example, when it comes time for elections, I can't tell you how many of my parents vote or don't vote. I'm going to speak about a previous school that I worked in. One of the parents asked, like, who do I vote for? They didn't even have an understanding of the different parties. And because I'm trying to encourage them to go, and then it hit me, they don't like, so then it was having conversations about, okay, go to this site, look at the different candidates, see what their platform is. Does this platform support what you and your family need or want? So I can do it from that perspective, and then I give them the tools to go and look at everything. But some people need an extra conversation, like, well, what does this mean? Or, because sometimes there's a lot of political jargon, as we all know, that it's hard for us to keep up with. Like, hold on, what are you saying? Because it'll be something different from day to day. To be able to have, like, for real conversations with people, I would love to do that. But what I do that I would share is be transparent, be open, ask questions. Like, okay, what do you guys see? Like, what's working here? What's not working here? What would you like to see done differently? Bring them to the table. Sometimes people come, sometimes people don't. And then it's for different reasons. Like, some of my parents now work 2 and 3 jobs, or their jobs and our schedule aren't aligned. But then we have parents who do want to be involved. So let them be involved. Let them help. Let them support. So I would say being transparent, being as honest as possible with what you can say, and then getting their input and answering questions that they have.
And keeping it real.
Yes.
Like, that's the most important. That's good. That's good. So as educators, and then especially educators who support children as early as the elementary grades, we get them very early. And I think about, and we often see them through to high school. And so when I think about the young girls specifically that we serve, who are so talented and gifted. I was at the high school recently and just looking at how gifted they are and the things that they are doing. As a leader and an activist and advocate in the field, what advice would you give those young girls as they are about to enter into the world? They're trying to find their place, right? They're choosing their pathways. Right. What advice would you give them as they prepare to, like, start their life?
So one of the things that I would say would be, whatever it is you want to do, go for it. Don't limit your dreams by somebody else's limited thinking. Sometimes people will put you in, like, a category, or like, you can only do this. That's never the case. That's never it. Figure out what it is you want to do. Do research on it. There's so much available on the internet. Make a connection with a mentor. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a nurse, if you want to be an architect, if you want to, whatever it is you want to do, find somebody who does that. Reach out to them. The worst thing they can say is, no, I don't have time to talk to you. Send them an email, or however, call their office and say, I'm interested in this particular profession or career. Can I come and talk to you for a minute? Or do you have time to answer a few questions? Or can I come shadow you one day to see if it's what you like to do? Also, if you're not sure, that's okay too. There are different opportunities for you to kind of explore different experiences to see, like, is this what I want to do or not? I remember a couple years ago, I sent my son to a camp where they were able to see, like, he was able to explore engineering, medicine, a couple other things. I can't remember. I'm over 40.
Okay.
And he knew coming back, oh, I do not want to be a doctor because blood and stuff is not for me. But so for the young ladies, if you have an idea of what you want to do it. You don't have to follow what you see everybody else doing, right, which is something that happens a lot in Atlanta, especially because certain things are glorified, but there's so many other professions that are here that are just as lucrative, if not more. Go out, find somebody who will help there are a lot of Black professionals who would love to mentor young people who are interested in their field. All you have to do is reach out, because they don't know who you are. Find out who they are and then make that connection. It's okay to manage up. Do it. Trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and go after what it is you want to do. And don't let anybody tell you can't, because that's just somebody who didn't make it, or who looks at you as competition. We don't have time for that. You know what you are. Never compromise your greatness for somebody else's thinking, ever.
That's right. And I would even go as far as to say that, because that is the whole purpose of the Bella Grind brand, please reach out to me on any of my platforms, and they'll be listed at the end of this video, and they will also be in the description of the video on YouTube. But please reach out, and to her point, that is my whole goal, is to connect women and young girls with the right mentors who can help them in making healthy choices, in exploring their gifts and talents, and really finding their path in life. So that is the whole purpose for this platform. And so please reach out to me as well. Hey, you never know, you might even be hooked up with Adrienne here, who can be a mentor for you. So that's awesome advice. Great.
And then I thought about something else too. Like, a lot of people are on social media and TikTok.
Yes, TikTok is popping.
TikTok, they have everything on there. So search for the career you're interested in. Like, if you're interested in finance, if you're interested in investing,
that's good. Search
for that. There are people on there who are giving great tips. So don't get distracted by all the other stuff. If you know what you want to do, especially for the people who want to be entrepreneurs, that's work. That is work. It's not all glamorous. It doesn't always work out the first time. I helped ex-spouse start a business. Y'all, it's a lot. And you don't see that part when you're looking at other people who are already successful until you start talking to them.
Right.
So with some of our fifth graders last year, we started a leadership program, and we put them in touch with people who were in certain positions. That was the most eye-opening conversation. There was a gentleman who is I forgot what he called it, but he starts different businesses, and he just talked to them about how hard it can be, and that sometimes your business will be successful, sometimes it'll be successful for a couple weeks and then it flops, or sometimes it doesn't work out. And then he said the most important thing though, what did you learn from the experience, and what are you going to do differently when you go back out there? So you never give up. Never give up. But that's one of the benefits of having a mentor or somebody that you can talk to. And there are a lot of people out here who are willing to do that. So please reach out to her. And then if I can help in any way, I would love to do that.
You know, I will be reaching out to you for sure.
Yes.
Because you are just a wealth of knowledge. So I have a fast round now.
Okay.
That I want to engage you in. And the way that it works is, I will say a phrase or a sentence. You have to say what comes to your mind right off.
Okay.
So don't spend a whole lot of time thinking.
How old are the people watching?
Well, my audience is 15 to 50. Let's say that.
That's all I need to know. Okay, thank you.
So you have to say what comes to mind, the first thing that comes to your mind. And then you have to tell me why.
Okay.
You say that. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going to pull it up on my phone here. The first one: fight the power or keep the peace.
Depends on the situation.
Ooh, tell me.
Sometimes the people in power need a little support, understanding what they're presenting for everyone else to promote, implement, practice. Sometimes you have to advocate for people who are with you, because some people can't advocate for themselves.
Right.
So especially working in elementary school, they can't. So sometimes you have to advocate for others. So I'm a strong believer in that. Keeping the peace, I kind of look at that more so from the sense of sometimes in your desire to be right all the time, you're not keeping the peace. And sometimes is it actually worth it? Like, so thinking about what the battle is or what the conflict is, and then determining like what's more important right now. So figuring out, as the older I've gotten, if I can compromise and get the other person to understand and see that, and we come to a happy compromise, that's always a win-win. Okay. Always. Because then they hear that you respect their thoughts and their thinking. So it depends on the situation.
Okay. Stay ready or get ready.
Oh, baby, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Get ready.
Yeah, so stay ready.
Stay ready.
Yes.
What are some strategies you do to stay ready every day?
Professionally or personally? I guess we can do both.
Let's do both.
So, professionally, what I do is I try to stay abreast of what's happening. I try to read as much as possible so that I know. I also try to read between the lines so that I know. And then making sure that everybody that I'm working with has every resource that they need so that we can be successful. So for me, that's like the staying ready. Personally, staying ready is taking care of myself. It is listening to the people around me, people that I love. So if something comes up, there's not really a surprise. You kind of know, okay, this was happening. Okay, how can we keep moving through this experience? So, and then just giving 100% all the time is how I stay ready. Like figure stuff out, and then kind of playing through different scenarios. I've always been one to think about, okay, if this happens, the outcome can be this, or this. And then how am I going to respond to ensure it's this or that kind of thing. So I'm always thinking. So those are some of the ways that I stay ready.
So this next question, and that was good. It might require a little bit of thought.
Okay.
So I'll be fair.
Thank you.
If you could write a book,
okay,
what would you title it?
Lord, like my current journey, it would have to have something like with faith over fear. Because with this experience, there's so many unknowns, and that's what's the scariest thing is you don't know, like, is this going to work? What's going to happen? Has the cancer spread somewhere else? But every single day, I know that God has brought me to this place for a reason, for a purpose. I am here. I have an amazing medical team. So I think right now, this phase of my life will be faith over fear. Like something kind of related to that. And then even like it through my whole life, even like understanding or having this sense of peace, like that things are going to be okay. Even if it's the craziest thing that's happening, there's still a sense of peace. Like it's going to be fine. And we just have to get through this moment. I know I love the beach. Something about serenity or faith over fear.
Okay. That faith over fear is good, though.
That's what I live by right now.
And
that's one of my hashtags, too.
Is it faith over fear? And that is the space that I'm in right now, and that's probably why it resonates. But every day, you know, I'm fighting, and I have to remind myself.
And you get more comfortable every day that you do something.
That's true.
Then you gain more experiences, and then there are fewer things that are unknown, so you get more comfortable.
That's very true. It's funny you say that because before we started today, one of my team members, Bobby, he asked me. He said, "Are you scared? I was like, "Not today." But if you were to talk to him about my very first podcast, like it was. The fear was at an all-time high. Yeah. But I made it through. But today it just felt really comfortable.
And I think a lot of times that fear comes too from underestimating your own power. Like you got to this place for a reason.
Yeah.
Because of who you are. And then it's like when you're starting something new, you kind of forget all of that stuff. Like, and then as you get in, it's like, oh yeah, I am awesome. I forgot. I can do this.
And I'm getting back to that. Like, yeah, Jan, you do have the power.
Yes.
You know, you can do this. So it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Same here. I've enjoyed it.
And I'm so glad that you said yes to my invitation to come and sit on the couch because believe it or not, I learn so much every time we talk. I'm always learning something from you. And I just wanted to be able to share you honestly with the world. So everybody who is connected to this podcast, I just felt like they really needed to hear from you because you are so amazing. I am one of your biggest supporters.
Oh, thank you.
I am in this fight with you. I am a part of the hashtag. No one fights alone. So I am one of your supporters and one of your biggest fans, and you know you can call me at any time.
Yes.
And I am there for you. And just thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just thank you. You're another Black woman who makes me proud to be a Black woman. So that is you. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
Like, it's important that Black women are seen in a positive light.
Yeah.
Because there's so many like misnomers, or there's so many negative stereotypes placed on us out of fear by the people who are placing them. Mm-hmm. Because Black people are powerful.
You better say that.
We are very creative. I try to teach my students that. One of the things that drives me crazy, like Black history, guys, did not start with slavery. Please understand that.
That's right. We were kings and queens.
Mm-hmm. And then we need to understand that so that we can still carry ourselves that way right now. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the stereotypes that are placed on us, that we are, they over-sexualize Black women. And there are so many double standards out there that women need to understand, like, live in your power. It's okay if you love the way that you look. I don't care what size you are at all. You don't have to be a 0, or if you're a 38, I don't even know what that would be. Like, be comfortable with who you are. And to see Black women supporting others is what children need to see.
That's right.
That's one thing I make sure my daughter understands and knows. So, like, our village of friends, we're always uplifting each other. We celebrate everything. If something happens, we're there to support each other. Anything we celebrate. So she doesn't see us tearing each other down.
Right.
And I don't want her to think that it's okay. Like some of the things on social media where people are fighting or calling each other out or making accusations about things, or just because we're different means someone is less than. No, that we're different types of amazing. And so we can all grow from each other and learn from each other and benefit from each other. Because imagine how boring the world would be if we were all exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thank you. And I've respected you for many years. So I was honored when you asked for me to come, and there was no way I was going to miss it.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. And we can leave on that note. Live in your power. That was for me too.
Yes.
That was a word that was for me too. Thank you for that. And remember, act like a lady, think like a boss, and stay on your beautiful grind. Peace.
Oh, see, I need some color on these lips. Wash out. Did she sell lipstick again? Oh, well, it's like never mind, because we can't start with this and then I'm popping next. It's gonna be like, really? Now, I've done that in a meeting where I turned around. Ooh,
and then turn around. You were completely different principle.
My whole staff knows. They'll crack up laughing.
We could always change the question to a song or album that is the soundtrack of your life.
Please don't do that.
Okay,
that's not gonna make it any better.
Yes.
No.
She said, "Please don't do that. That is not going to make."
Because what I was saying.
That is
because it depends on the day. It depends on the day.
Yes, I understand.
So,
please don't do that. Yes.
Oh.
Like we're gonna start the whole show.
Okay then.
We ready?
Stay ready.
Okay. Oh yes, you better say it. Welcome to the Bella Grind podcast.
Yes.
It's we all body, but
yes.
Okay, all right. Adrienne and I connect. Sorry, Bobby.
Pause.
I'm gonna start it over.
Wait, he's right by the mic. He's right by the mic.
Is he?
What?
I'm gonna need.
What hair product did you use? Because he's going to your hair.
Is he going to my hair?
Yes, he's.
I wish I could even see.
Honey, listen.
He's right by your hair right now.
See, he just flew in my face, Bobby. I need something to. I promise you, if I can hide it right here, I will slap this out your bug.